I was cleaning my hands on a rag when I saw him. Couldn't have been more than 8, maybe 9. Drenched, shaking. His lips were trembling so hard you'd think words had turned to glass inside his mouth. "Kid, you lost?" I asked. He didn't answer, just looked up at the rows of patched jackets and scarred faces staring back at him. His eyes, I'll never forget those eyes. They weren't scared of us. They were scared of something worse. He took one step closer, then whispered something so quiet even the rain leaned in to listen. "My stepdad's gonna kill me." Every bottle stopped mid-air. Every man stopped breathing. Even the clock over the bar seemed to freeze, like it was waiting to see what we'd do next. That's the moment everything changed, the moment the road we thought we knew took a turn straight into hell. They call us the Reapers, not because we deal in death, but because we've all outrun it a few times too many. Our clubhouse sits off Route 17, a forgotten bar that smells like gasoline, bourbon, and old ghosts. Neon lights flicker like they're too tired to fight the dark. Motor oil stains the concrete. A line of bikes waits outside, glistening under the rain like wolves in the mist. Most nights, we drink, we laugh, and we lie to ourselves that the world outside doesn't rot. But that night, silence rolled in like a storm cloud. Bear, our VP, a man built like a truck, with arms full of scars, leaned forward, squinting at the boy. "You hear what he said?" he growled, voice low. "Yeah," I muttered. "I heard." The kid stood there, dripping, clutching his torn hoodie like it was armor. Around him, a dozen outlaws watched, unsure what the hell to do with something so small, so fragile, in a place made for men who break bones for respect. "Name's Riley," I said, stepping forward. "You got one, kid?" He hesitated, then whispered, "Eli." It was barely a sound, but it carried enough weight to shake the room. That name didn't belong in a biker bar. It belonged in a bedtime story. Bear took a long drag from his cigarette, exhaled slow. Somebody's gonna explain why a kid like that's out here alone. Or we're all gonna lose sleep tonight. The rain kept pounding outside, harder now, like the sky knew something we didn't. Eli's voice was trembling when he finally spoke. He said if I tell anyone, he'll do it again. He said nobody will believe me. "What's he talking about?" one of the brothers asked. Eli's gaze darted around the room, scared to land on anyone too long. His face was bruised, small fingerprints around his neck, a split lip, one eye starting to swell. "My stepdad," he said. "He gets mad when Mama's not home. He says I make him angry." You could hear the wood crack under Bear's grip on the counter. "That bastard," he muttered under his breath. The bar felt smaller by the second, the hum of neon lights, the hiss of rain, the throb of anger building in every chest. "He's looking for me," Eli added suddenly. "He said he'd find me if I ran again." That's when every man in the room glanced toward the door out to the highway. The kind of glance that comes before a storm. "Kid," I said quietly, "did he follow you?" Eli's eyes filled with tears. "I think so." A gust of wind pushed through the half-open door, and every biker's hand went instinctively toward the weight on his hip. In that moment, the club wasn't just a gang anymore, it was a shield. The boy had walked into the wrong bar, or maybe the right one. Bear crushed out his cigarette. "Lock the door," he said. "Nobody gets in till we figure this out." And right there, with thunder rolling over the roof, the past and present crashed together, a wounded child, a pack of sinners, and a storm none of us saw coming. The room went dead still. You could have heard a fly land on the counter. The kid's words hung there. "He's looking for me." Tank, our road captain, slammed his beer down so hard it foamed over the rim. "You telling me this little boy walked 2 damn miles in the dark just to find us?" He wasn't asking anyone in particular, but the answer twisted something in all of us. "He didn't come here by accident," I said quietly. Eli's eyes flicked up to mine, wet and scared but stubborn too. "I saw your bikes once," he said, voice trembling. "Mama said bikers were bad men, but bad men scare other bad men." A ripple went through the bar, a kind of dark pride mixed with shame. We'd been called a lot of things, but never hope. Richard, our president, finally rose from his seat. Big man, calm voice, eyes like steel cooled by experience. When he spoke, the room listened. "Eli," he said, crouching to the boy's level. You got $7 in your hand. What's that for? The boy sniffed, wiped his nose with his sleeve. It's all I got. Will you kill him for me? The question cracked through the air like a gunshot. Every biker froze. Even the jukebox gave up a weak hum and went silent. Richard didn't move. He just stared at the kid, this broken, trembling thing holding 7 wrinkled bills like they were sacred. You think that's what we do, huh? Richard finally said, voice low. You think we kill people for money? Eli hesitated. I think you make bad people stop. Something behind Richard's eyes softened, then hardened right back. We stop a lot of things, he muttered. Tank rose halfway out of his chair. We're wasting time, Prez. If the bastard's out there. Sit down, Richard snapped, not looking at him. His tone carried enough weight to quiet a hurricane. The boy flinched at the sound, and Richard immediately caught himself. He took a breath, dropped back to his knee. Hey, it's all right. No one's gonna hurt you here, Eli whispered. He said that too. That hit everyone like a gut punch. Richard stood slowly, turned to us. Doc, he called. From the back room, a man with tattoos crawling up his neck and a limp in his step emerged. He used to be a paramedic before the pills took his license. Now he patched us up when bullets did the talking. Take a look at him. Doc's expression changed the second he knelt. His hands were gentle, practiced. When he lifted the boy's shirt, the air shifted. Purple bruises, old scars, rib marks that looked like they'd been made by boots. Jesus Christ, Doc whispered. He's got at least 2 broken ribs, maybe internal bleeding. The bar exploded, curses, fists slamming tables, chairs scraping back. He did that to a kid? Tank roared. Snake reached for the knife on his hip. Say the word, Prez. Eli's voice cut through the chaos. Please help my mom. He said he's gonna kill her tonight. The entire room froze again. Outside, thunder cracked like judgment. The rain had become a war drum on the roof. Then, faint and far away, the sound of sirens sliced through the night. Every biker stiffened. Sirens never meant salvation for men like us, they meant trouble. Richard moved first, his eyes scanning the room. Everyone stay put. He pulled out his phone, pressed it to his ear. Johnson, talk to me. A pause. His face changed, went pale, then dark. He hung up slow. There's been a shooting, he said. Trailer park on Maple Road. Eli gasped, voice breaking. That's where we live. He bolted for the door, but Richard caught him mid-run. Hold on, kid. You can't. My mom, Eli screamed. He's gonna kill her. And in that instant, something broke in Richard's composure. The leader, the outlaw, the man who'd seen too much, he dropped the rules. The club code, the fear of cops. He turned to us, jaw tight. Everyone rides. Now. 15 chairs scraped back in unison. Boots thundered on the wooden floor. The roar of engines swallowed the night. As Eli clung to Richard's vest, soaked in rain and fear, we tore through the highway like a pack of angry ghosts, chasing fate. Rain turned the road into a black mirror as 15 engines screamed through the night. The headlights cut through mist and fury, glinting off the wet asphalt like sparks from hell. To anyone watching, it wasn't just bikers riding, it was a cavalry of demons chasing redemption. Eli clung to Richard's leather vest, his tiny hands gripping the patch that read President. He couldn't see his tears. The rain had already claimed them. But his voice, that trembling whisper against Richard's back, carried enough weight to crush the heart of any man who'd ever known pain. Please, he said. Please don't let her die. Richard didn't answer. He just twisted the throttle harder, the wind tearing at his beard as his bike screamed past the others. Bear and Tank flanked him like bodyguards of rage. Behind them, Snake rode with a look that could kill steel. None of them spoke. There was no need. Every man knew what this ride meant. By the time they reached Maple Road, the world had already changed. Red and blue lights pulsed through the rain strobes of chaos, cutting the dark. The trailer park was crawling with cops, EMTs, and bystanders huddled under umbrellas. Smoke drifted from a shattered window. The air stank of gunpowder and wet metal. Richard slowed the bike just enough for Eli to see, and that's when the boy screamed. "Mama!" The sound ripped through the storm. Every cop on scene turned as 15 roaring motorcycles came skidding to a stop in a perfect line. Engines died. Silence fell. Then came the click of holsters, cops reaching for their sidearms. Sheriff Johnson, an old man who'd seen too many bad nights, stepped forward. "Richard, you can't be here right now." Richard didn't blink. His boots hit the ground heavy and sure. He lifted Eli off the bike, setting him gently on the wet pavement. "His mother's in there," he said. "Tell me she's alive." "She's alive," Johnson said quickly, "but her husband isn't." The words hung there, sharp as thunder. Eli froze. He's dead?" "Not yet," Johnson added. "He's in the ambulance. Gunshot wound to the shoulder. Neighbor shot him when he wouldn't stop hitting her." The boy's knees gave out, and he crumpled to the ground, sobbing into his hands. Richard dropped beside him, gripping his shoulders. "You hear that? She's alive. She's alive, Eli." The kid nodded, trembling. Behind them, the rest of the club stood in formation, leather cuts gleaming, faces hard but silent. The cops didn't dare move closer. Tank muttered under his breath, "Guess the bastard got what was coming." "Maybe," Richard said, eyes locked on the trailer. "But it's not over." Minutes later, 2 paramedics wheeled out a stretcher. A woman, bruised, bloodied, one arm bandaged, blinked through the flashing lights. "Mama!" Eli tore free and ran. The crowd parted. When she saw him, her broken face softened. "Baby, oh God, you're safe." They clung to each other, shaking. Her blood mixed with the rain as she whispered, "I told you to hide." "I did," he said. "I found help." She looked up at the wall of leather and steel behind him, at 15 men who looked like they'd crawled out of hell itself. For a second, fear crossed her face, then she understood. Richard stepped forward, voice calm but fierce. "Ma'am, your boy's safe now. We're not going anywhere." Sheriff Johnson approached, his tone careful. "She's coming with us for questioning. Protocol." "She needs a hospital," Doc snapped. "You got protocol, I got triage. Guess which one matters more?" Johnson sighed. "We'll handle it. But the kid, he's going into foster care for the night. That's state law." Eli's grip on his mother tightened. "No, I'm not leaving her." The social worker stepped in, clipboard in hand, tone clinical. "Sir, please step aside. The boy needs to be taken into temporary custody." Richard's hand shot out, blocking her. "You touch him. You answer to all of us." "Sir, that's interference." "Try me." One by one, the bikers closed ranks, forming a wall of black leather and thunder. 15 men, ex-cons, veterans, broken souls, standing between a child and the system that had already failed him once. The rain hammered down harder, but no one moved. Sheriff Johnson's jaw worked. He looked at the boy, then at Richard. "You're gonna get yourself arrested." Richard didn't flinch. "Maybe, but at least he sleeps safe tonight." Lightning flashed across the sky, freezing the scene in white cops' tents, bikers unyielding, a child crying between them. This wasn't a bar brawl. It wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about a choice, what kind of men they really were when it counted. And as thunder rolled over the rooftops, Richard said the words that would define everything that came next. "Get my wife on the phone. Tell her we've got a kid who needs a home tonight." The engines stayed silent, but every man there knew something had shifted. They hadn't come to kill a monster. They'd come to save a soul. And as the cops backed off and the storm began to ease, the question settled heavy in the night air. When the world calls you a criminal, what does it take to become a hero instead?